for the last Saturday of January 2026. A few stray thoughts. And a few general remarks. And a few points of view. By way of a roundup of the week. All my own musings. India celebrates 77th Republic Day.
किस्सा कुर्सी का
Ex-VP Jagdeep Dhankhar, LOPs Mallikarjun Kharge, Rahul Gandhi attend our day parade. A large number of diplomats were present too. Dhankhar was seated in the front row alongside Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Leader of Opposition in Rajya Sabha Mallikarjun Kharge, says DD News. Congress fumes over Rahul Gandhi's third row Arday seat. Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi's seats in the third row have provided the Congress with fresh ammunition to attack the centre. The party alleges the seating is a breach of protocol and has also dug out a photo from 2014 to bolster its case. President Murmu hosts at-home reception at Rashtrapati Bhavan. PM Modi, European Council President Antonio Costa, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen attend.
At-home reception at Rashtrapati Bhavan earlier, just a short while ago. The theme was the Northeast. Now, all the guests, right from the Prime Minister to the European Union leaders, including Mr. De Costa and Ms. van der Leyen, and foreign ambassadors and other guests, everyone was given a Northeast patka. You can see all of them wearing the patka, except the gentleman in the white kurta not wearing it. Leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, not wearing the Northeast patka. And top sources tell CNN News 18 that President Draupadi Murmu is said to have twice requested Rahul Gandhi to wear it, but he ignored it.
Lok Sabha LOP Rahul Gandhi attends President's at-home reception, does not exchange greetings with PM Modi.
The highlight of the parade.
और अब स्वागत कीजिए रेगिस्तान के जहाज का। ऊंट राजस्थान के थार रेगिस्तान और कच्छ के रण के दुर्गम इलाके में सीमा पर तैनात जवानों के एकमात्र भरोसेमंद साथी। ये है सीमा सुरक्षा बल के दस्ते में ऊंट चेतक पर सवार कंटिंजेंट डिप्टी कमांडेंट श्री महेंद्र पाल सिंह राठौर की अगुवाई में। बीएसएफ के ये शाही ऊंट आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। दस्ते की खास बात यह है कि 1976 से लगातार ये कंटिंजेंट गणतंत्र दिवस परेड में भाग लेता रहा है। आदर्श वाक्य, जीवन पर्यंत कर्तव्य।
तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावा, गुल बन के मैं खिल जावा, इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू।
During the 77th Republic Day parade at Kartavya Path, the Indian Air Force's Rafale BS-022 led the flypast, soaring high and debunking claims by Pakistan and US President Donald Trump that it had been shot down during Operation Sindoor.
At the 77th Republic Day parade on Kartavya Path, the Indian Air Force capped celebrations with a powerful show of aerial might. Leading the flypast was Rafale fighter jet BS-022. The same aircraft Pakistan had earlier claimed was shot down during Operation Sindoor.
उन्होंने रिलीज किया हमारे उकाब झपटे और आनन फानन 5 जहाज जिनमें 3 राफेल उनको मार गिराया और उनको ऊंधे मुंह वो कश्मीर पर जाकर गिरे, बठिंडा में जाके गिरे। इससे बड़ी अल्लाह ताला के फज़ल करम से इस मौजूद जवान को, पाकिस्तान के 24 करोड़ अवाम को, आपको इससे बड़ी इज्जत नहीं मिल सकती। इसके लिए हम जितना भी अल्लाह ताला के हजूर सजदा रेज़ होंगे, हम उसका तब भी उसका शुक्र कभी अदा नहीं कर सकते कि ये कन्वेंशनल वॉरफेयर थी, इसमें न्यूक्लियर दूर दूर तक उसका कोई नामो निशान नहीं था। और जो कहते थे कि हिंदुस्तान ने पाकिस्तान को कन्वेंशनल वॉरफेयर में बहुत पीछे छोड़ दिया है, कल रात को उनका होश ठिकाने आ गया है और उनको पता चल गया है कि पाकिस्तान अल्लाह ताला के फज़ल करम से कन्वेंशनल भी और न्यूक्लियर ताकत है अल्लाह के फज़ल करम से। आज जनाब स्पीकर, हमारे दुश्मन उनको कल रात नींद नहीं आई और हमारे जो दोस्त भाई खा, उनको पता चल गया है कि पाकिस्तान वाकई एक ऐसा मुल्क है जिसकी फौज एक ऐसी फौलादी फौज है कि कल को खुदा ना खास्ता उनके ऊपर बुरा वक्त आया तो वो पाकिस्तान की तरफ मदद के लिए वो देखेंगे और दरखास्त करेंगे। इससे बड़ी जनाब स्पीकर पाकिस्तान को और कोई इज्जत नहीं मिल सकती जनाब स्पीकर।
Now even Trump's claims of 7 aircrafts being shot down proves to be unverified and at variance with India's official position.
Swiss think tank picks IAF as game changer in Operation Sindoor. Air war turned the tide. A Swiss military study says India's air superiority during the 88-hour Operation Sindoor forced Pak to seek a ceasefire in the May conflict. The report notes Pakistan's Air Force scored early tactical gains, but failed to capitalize on them. Most Pakistani strikes over Indian territory were blunted by India's integrated air defense system, described as a surprise of the conflict. The Indian Air Force carried out high-impact strikes on key Pakistani Air Force bases to clinch air dominance. Like, government announced Padma Awards on Republic Day. Padma Vibhushan for Dharmendra. Shouldn't female recipients of Padma Shri be called Padma Shrimati? Just a thought.
The 2026 Padma awardees including Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri have been announced in keeping with the tradition of unveiling the honours on Republic Day Eve to recognise exceptional public service and achievement. For 2026, President Draupadi Murmu has approved conferment of 131 Padma Awards, recognizing well-known as well as unsung individuals with long-standing contributions in diverse fields such as healthcare, education, livelihood, environment, and cultural preservation. In the Padma Vibhushan Award category, 5 names have been confirmed. This includes popular Bollywood actor Dharmendra Singh Deol, who will be conferred the honour posthumously. He is known for his work in films like Sholay and Dharamveer. Further, the list includes former Kerala Chief Minister V.S. Achyutanandan posthumously, eminent Malayalam journalist P. Narayanan, former Supreme Court Judge K.T. Thomas, and N. Rajam for her contribution in the field of art. For the Padma Bhushan Awards, the list has 13 names, including former Jharkhand CM Shibu Soren, popular singer Alka Yagnik, actor-producer Mammootty, Indian banker and billionaire Uday Kotak, and former governor of Maharashtra Bhagat Singh Koshyari, among others. And finally, the 2026 Padma Shri awardees include star Indian cricketers Rohit Sharma and Harmanpreet Kaur, hockey star Savita Punia, actor Prashanjit Chatterjee, and the duo of Gayatri and Ranjani Balasubramanian, among 108 other known and unsung distinguished individuals.
A day after the formal announcement by the central government on those who are winning the Padma Awards for 2026, there's been a full-blown political storm. The Congress now is highlighting these numbers, accusing the centre of what they call electionizing the Padma Awards, alleging that a national honour is being turned into a political weapon ahead of elections. In Kerala, where, like I said, 8 people have received the Padma honour. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has questioned the centre over superstar Mammootty's Padma Bhushan, saying the left had been putting forth this demand for years for this honour to be given to Mammootty.
Congress has mocked Padma Shri Award to IIT Madras Director V. Kamakoti. Kerala Congress has taunted the honour given to IIT Madras Director. Congress has said that Professor Kamakoti has been recognised for his research on cow urine.
Like, India signed historic FTA with EU. PM called it mother of all deals. USA's Navarro, Besant and company were unhappy.
तुझको मिर्ची लगी तो मैं क्या करूं, तुझको मिर्ची लगी तो मैं क्या करूं.
You are watching Sanglikar's Weekly.
India and the European Union announced the conclusion of the historic mother of all deals amid a change in world order and US's tariffs pressure tactics. It comes after 18 years of wait and at a time when Europe faces uncertainty with its ally, the United States of America. The European Union, comprising of 27 nations, have sealed the deal on a day which coincides with the date of the month, January 27.
फ्रेंड्स, आज भारत ने अपने इतिहास का अब तक का सबसे बड़ा फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट संपन्न किया है। आज 27 तारीख है। ये सुखद संयोग है कि आज ही के दिन यूरोपियन यूनियन के 27 देशों के साथ भारत ये एफटीए कर रहा है। यह एक ऐतिहासिक समझौता हमारे किसानों, हमारे छोटे उद्योगों, इसके यूरोपियन मार्केट तक पहुंच आसान बनाएगा, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में नए अवसर पैदा करेगा और हमारे सर्विसेज सेक्टर के बीच सहयोग को और प्रबल करेगा।
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen celebrated the deal by saying, "We did it." Von der Leyen said the deal was an answer that cooperation can be the answer to global challenges.
India is preparing to slash import duties on cars from the European Union to 40%.
India plans to slash tariffs on cars imported from the European Union to 40% from as high as 110%. It would be the biggest opening yet of the country's vast market as the two sides close in on a free trade pact that could come as early as Tuesday. Two sources told Reuters that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has agreed to immediately reduce the tax on a limited number of cars from the bloc, with an import price of more than $17,739. They added this will be further lowered to 10% over time, and would ease access to the Indian market for European automakers such as VW, Mercedes-Benz and BMW for the Free Trade Pact. It's already being dubbed the mother of all deals and could expand bilateral trade and lift Indian exports of goods such as textiles and jewellery. They've been hit by 50% US tariffs since late August. India is the world's third largest car market by sales after the US and China, but its domestic auto industry has been one of the most protected. New Delhi currently levies tariffs of 70% and 110% on imported cars.
EU-India sign deal. The EU estimates the deal could double EU exports to India by 2032 and generate annual duty savings of up to €4 billion on European products. However, this will also hurt the enemies of India. The year was 2007. Steve Jobs had announced the launch of the first iPhone, the subprime mortgage crisis was bubbling up in the US, the EU had enlarged to include Romania and Bulgaria, and India had for the first time become a trillion-dollar economy. This was when trade talks between Delhi and Brussels were initiated for the first time. But it wouldn't be until this very week, almost 20 years later, that a deal was signed after a few final months of unusually accelerated negotiations in January 2026. India's trade deal with the European Union has caused ripples from across the border to the United States as well. Not only Bangladesh, Pakistan, but even the United States and Turkey will feel the heat of the historic trade agreement between India and the EU. Under the agreement, tariffs on over 90% of EU goods exports to India will be eliminated or reduced, including steep duties of up to 44% on machinery, 22% on chemicals and 11% on pharmaceuticals, which will be mostly phased out. Tariffs on EU beer will be cut to 50%, while duties on chemicals, aircraft, and spacecraft will be eliminated for almost all products. The EU estimates the deal could double EU exports to India by 2032 and generate annual duty savings of up to €4 billion on European products. However, this will also hurt the enemies of India.
Impact on Turkey. The relations between India and Turkey went downhill after Operation Sindoor, where Ankara helped Pakistan with drones and loitering ammunition. Since then, the relations between the two nations have been strained. Now, the India-EU trade deal is likely to hurt Turkey as well.
Notably, the EU-Turkey customs union obliges Ankara to match the EU's common external tariff with any partner country. Ankara has previously raised concerns related to this with the EU, but there has been no headway made to resolve the issue. When the EU lowers tariffs for an FTA partner, like India, Turkey must do the same for that country. However, India won't have an obligation to do the same to Turkey. It will be interesting to see how Turkey responds to this. Impact on Bangladesh and Pakistan. Impact on Bangladesh. A few months ago, during an interview, Bangladesh's interim leader Muhammad Yunus said that due to higher US tariffs on New Delhi and lower on Dhaka, Indian companies may shift their bases to Bangladesh. Also, Bangladesh, being the least developed country, LDC, has zero duty while exporting to the EU, whereas India faced higher duties. This helped Dhaka capture a larger market share in the EU.
Impact on Pakistan. A fragile economy struggling to survive, Pakistan is irked with India's growing ties with the EU. The India-European Union Free Trade Agreement has also irked Pakistan-backed Khalistanis. They feel that close ties between the European Union, EU, and India mean that the latter gains more leverage to target Khalistani elements. US miffed with EU-India trade.
Also, the United States is miffed with the deal because its pressure tactics on New Delhi did not materialize. Despite President Donald Trump making absurd statements, India refused to bend, and the Indo-US trade deal is stuck. Now, the EU-India trade deal will put more pressure on Trump from his supporters and leaders, as America is missing out on a strategic partnership deal. Good news from everywhere.
On 26th January 2026, India celebrated its 77th Republic Day in New Delhi. There were military parades, cultural performances and heads of states. But one quiet moment stood out. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, arrived as chief guest wearing something unexpected, a Band Gala style jacket made from Indian Banarsi brocade. This was not accidental and it was not just fashion. In global diplomacy, what leaders wear is often part of the message, and in this case, the message was carefully chosen. This visit itself was historic. For the first time, India invited the President of the European Commission and the President of the European Council together as Republic Day guests, something which sent a clear message that India sees Europe as a strategic partner, not just a market. Von der Leyen's outfit reinforced that message visually. It said that we see India as an equal civilization. We respect your institutions, not just your economy. This relationship is long-term. In diplomacy, symbolic respect often precedes hard agreements. Now comes the global context. As of 2026, Europe and the United States are close allies but not perfectly aligned. There are tensions over trade and industrial subsidies, technology regulation, data privacy, defense, burden sharing, China strategy. Europe has been increasingly clear about one idea: strategic autonomy. That means not breaking away from the US but not depending entirely on it either. India fits directly into this thinking. India offers a massive market, strategic positioning in the Indo-Pacific, an alternative manufacturing hub, a non-aligned foreign policy tradition. By visually leaning into India's cultural identity, von der Leyen was signaling that Europe is broadening its partnerships, not against America but beyond America. This is subtle and intentional.
Rupee ends higher as softer dollar, EU trade pact offer breathing room. The Indian rupee firmed slightly, helped along by a broadly weaker dollar and the boost from a landmark trade agreement between India and the European Union, which is expected to cut tariffs on nearly all Indian exports. The rupee closed at 91.72 per dollar, up 0.2% from its closing level. The currency's modest recovery followed a slump to its all-time low of 91.9650 on Friday. Trump, Vance, Navarro stalled India trade deal. Bombshell Ted Cruz audio leak spills secrets. Alleged behind-the-scenes drama at the White House about the India-US trade deal was exposed in a Ted Cruz donor meeting audio leak.
Ted Cruz's explosively leaked audio has brutally exposed how the hotly anticipated India-US trade deal viciously divided the upper echelons of the White House into warring factions. Axios exclusively cited damning audio recordings of a Texas Republican senator spilling secrets during a private, off-the-record chat with high-rolling political donors. In those unguarded recordings dripping with insider drama, Cruz claimed VP J.D. Vance and hardliner Peter Navarro actively blocked and sabotaged the promising proposed trade deal at every turn. Cruz also shockingly revealed that Donald Trump himself sometimes slammed the brakes and personally halted any meaningful progress on sealing the lucrative agreement swiftly. Axios reported the raw audio was furtively shared by a shadowy Republican source close to the action, clocking in at a juicy around 10 minutes of unfiltered revelations. Cruz sharply and publicly criticized the U.S. president's tariff-heavy, protectionist trade strategy as politically suicidal and downright dangerous for future electoral victories. Tensions catastrophically escalated after Trump slapped punishing additional 25% tariffs squarely on India over its controversial purchases of discounted Russian oil supplies. Cruz vividly described a blistering late-night phone call showdown with Trump right after he publicly announced those crippling tariffs, exposing raw presidential fury. Ted Cruz said, and I quote, "Mr. President, if we get to November and people's 401ks are down 30% and prices are up 10 to 20% at the supermarket, we're going to go into Election Day, face a bloodbath. You're going to lose the House, you're going to lose the Senate, you're going to spend the next 2 years being impeached every single week." According to Cruz's candid account, Trump was wildly yelling and unleashing a torrent of cursing during the heated call, bellowing a profanity in rage. "I've been in countless conversations where he was genuinely very happy and affable. This explosive one definitely was not one of them," Cruz confided bluntly to the captivated donors. The scorching recording also spotlighted Cruz ruthlessly attacking Vance for being puppet mastered by influential Tucker Carlson's isolationist worldview. Cruz ferociously accused Carlson and Vance of aggressively pushing a toxic anti-interventionist and blatantly anti-Israel foreign policy agenda, undermining U.S. alliances. This chaotic episode brutally highlights deepening and irreconcilable rifts fracturing the Republican Party ahead of the pivotal 2026 midterms and high-stakes 2028 presidential showdown. Cruz, widely eyed as a formidable potential 2028 presidential contender eyeing the Oval Office, framed unbreakable India ties as absolutely vital for countering China strategically.
US President Donald Trump has announced he is raising tariffs on South Korean imports to 25% after accusing Seoul of not living up to a trade deal reached last year. In a post on social media, Trump said he would increase levies on South Korea from 15% across a range of products including automobiles, lumber, pharmaceuticals, and all other reciprocal tariffs.
South Korean government convened emergency talks following President Trump's announcement of tariff hikes from 15 to 25% on key exports, including automobiles, lumber and pharmaceuticals. Seoul pledged calm engagement with Washington while lawmakers moved to expedite investment legislation. Demonstrations erupted in Seoul as the auto industry, representing 27% of U.S. exports, faces heightened risk.
Canada-China trade night ends with Trump's new threat, 100% tariffs for Governor Carney. President Donald Trump said he will hit Canada with a 100% tariff on all imports if the country makes a trade deal with China, as tensions between the Trump administration and the U.S. northern neighbor escalate. Trump called Prime Minister Mark Carney governor and accused him of enabling Chinese access to the U.S. market. On Truth Social, Trump claimed China would completely devour Canada. Carney visited China, that led to talks on reviving engagement with Canada's second-largest trading partner after U.S. The trip led to tariff cuts on select Canadian farm exports and quotas for Chinese electric vehicles. Canadian officials said engagement with China had been more predictable, contrasting it with tariff uncertainty in U.S. ties. Like Ajit Pawar, six-time Deputy Chief Minister Maharashtra, died in a plane crash. It was a small aircraft. Not stable, I think, like helicopters. Time for DGCA to step in. Maharashtra Deputy CM, Ajit Pawar, dies in air crash.
35 साल हो गए मैं पॉलिटिक्स में हूँ।
हमारे जो पर्सनल रिश्ते हैं वो एक जगह है और प्रोफेशनल, और अगर हम अच्छे प्रोफेशनल्स हो तो हम कभी मिक्स नहीं करेंगे।
अजित आशाताई अनंतराव पवार गांभीर्यपूर्वक धडकथन करतो की कायद्याद्वारे स्थापित झाले आहे अशा भारतीय संविधानाबद्दल मी खरी श्रद्धा व निष्ठा बाळगीन.
You are watching Sanglikars Weekly.
Like, within a couple of days of AP's death, wife Sunetra is ready to replace Ajit Pawar. Politics and service to nation don't stop. NCP is at crossroads.
In a significant political development, Sunetra Pawar is set to take oath as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. She has accepted the proposal for her elevation and will continue to handle the key excise and sports portfolios in the state government. This move comes as Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis prepares to take charge of the crucial finance ministry ahead of the upcoming budget session, signaling a focus on economic planning and fiscal discipline. The leadership reshuffle is being seen as a strategic step by ruling alliance to strengthen its grip in important regions of the state.
It's election season again. Like, Shashi Tharoor met Raga and declared all is well. Good, if true.
You had a very long meeting with Kharge and Rahul ji. What was all discussed, sir?
Look, I'm just going to be very brief about this. We had a discussion with my two party leaders, the NOP and the Congress president. And we had a very good, constructive, positive discussion. All is good and we are moving together on the same page.
Shakil Ahmed, ex-Congress MP, quit politics calling Rahul Gandhi a coward.
Senior leader Shakil Ahmed has now quit the party and has openly criticized Rahul Gandhi. He has called the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha an insecure, darpok leader who is dictatorial and does not listen to senior netas in the party. The ex-Congress leader has also said Rahul Gandhi promotes only those who praise him and does not feel like a boss in front of senior leaders, highlighting deep divisions within the Congress party. The BJP has seized on the split, attacking Rahul Gandhi that his real face has been exposed. It has also predicted a massive revolt against the Gandhi-Vadra leadership in the party.
Like Dilip Ghosh, BJP leader, call for beheading of Mamta Didi. Terrible. Too bad. No civility left.
Breaking news coming in right there after TMC Mantri claimed that Mamata Banerjee might be assassinated if BJP does not win next year's polls. BJP Bengal President Dilip Ghosh has now reacted to it. He said, and I quote, "The person who lost all the support is now speaking for the sake of sympathy," unquote. Remember, TMC Mantri had claimed that Mamata Banerjee may be assassinated if Bharatiya Janata Party does not win the 2021 assembly elections in West Bengal. And now Dilip Ghosh, who is the BJP Bengal president, has responded to that statement. Listen in.
It is the same story that repeats itself, kalpa after kalpa.
History repeats itself because we keep telling the same stories.
Like, things are heating up in poll-bound Tamil Nadu too. TVK's Vijay said DMK is its enemy number one. Tamil Nadu DMK CM said TN elections of 2026 would be a war between Aryans and Dravidians. Is Vijay an Aryan? Just asking.
Narrative that stabs the very idea of the Indian Republic, of unity in diversity. Days after being pulled up by the High Court for indulging in hate speech against Sanatan Dharma, the DMK has done it again. Now, while it was Udayanidhi Stalin the last time, this time it is Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin turning to spew venom, as he says that the 2026 assembly elections are a battle between Aryans and Dravidians. What does it now really mean? Is the Tamil Nadu poll, election happening between North and South? But look at the contradiction where he shares power with the Congress in Tamil Nadu and he campaigned with Rahul Gandhi in Bihar. So is he fighting both for Congress and Rahul Gandhi? More importantly, this pattern seems to be familiar. Right from Lungi Hatao pitch in Maharashtra to insider versus outsider slogans in Bengal to claims of Telangana DNA being better than Bihar, it looks like that the opposition bloc is used to relying on divide to rule template.
Like, Supreme Court stayed UGC equity regulations, which were hailed as historic by TN Chief Minister. SC termed them dangerous gerrymandering. Perplexing? Like, who will judge the judges? A riddle.
With breaking updates coming in, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has backed the UGC equity rules, saying it is delayed but necessary. He has said the UGC Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Institutions Regulations 2026 is a delayed but welcome step in reforming a higher education system scarred by deep-rooted discrimination and institutional apathy.
India's longest Iron Age spears unearthed in Tamil Nadu, with 8 feet and 6.5 feet long found.
What if I told you that the Iron Age began 2,000 years earlier than we thought? And not in the Middle East, but in Tamil Nadu, India. In Tamil Nadu, India, scientists have found iron artifacts from as early as 3,345 BCE, older than any known iron use in the world. 3 prestigious labs confirmed these dates using cutting-edge radiocarbon dating and optical luminescence testing. This discovery rewrites history. The world thought iron smelting began in Turkey around 1380 BCE, but Tamil Nadu mastered it 5,000 years ago. Could this change everything we know about history?
तमिलनाडु में एक बहुत पुरानी खोज हुई है, जिससे इतिहास की हमारी समझ ही बदल रही है। तमिलनाडु में खुदाई से पता चला है कि लोहे का काम 400 साल पहले लगभग 300-400 ईसा पूर्व में शुरू हो गया था। मतलब हम जो सोचते थे उससे कहीं पहले, लौह युग के शुरू होने से भी पहले। पहले विद्वान मानते थे कि लोहा पश्चिम एशिया से भारत आया था, लेकिन इस नई खोज से पता चलता है कि हो सकता है लोहे की तकनीक भारत में खुद ही विकसित हुई हो। उन्हें लोहा पिघलाने वाली भट्टियां और खंजर, कुल्हाड़ी और कील जैसे औजार मिले हैं। और सुनो, उन पुराने बस्तियों के अवशेष भी मिले हैं जहां धातु कर्म होता था। अगर ये बात पक्की हो गई तो इसका मतलब है कि दक्षिण भारत दुनिया के बाकी हिस्सों से बहुत पहले लोहे की तकनीक का एक बड़ा केंद्र था। तो मुख्याधिकारी क्या सोचते हैं? क्या तमिलनाडु शुरुआती लोहे की तकनीक का जन्म स्थान हो सकता है?
They say the British brought modern education to India. But what if one of Britain's biggest educational revolutions actually began in an Indian village school? In late 1700s, Andrew Bell arrived in Madras. While visiting a small school near the city, he witnessed something unusual. A group of older children calmly teaching younger students, guiding them, correcting them, practicing lessons together. This was not an accident. It was a traditional Indian method, a community-based learning system, efficient and well-structured. In this system, the teacher trained a handful of bright students, and these students became monitors or mini-teachers. Each monitor led a small group, teaching lessons, checking slates, correcting mistakes. It allowed one teacher to instruct hundreds, an ideal solution for large classes and scarce resources. Andrew Bell was astonished. He called it the monitorial system. Later, it came to be known worldwide as the Madras method. Bell returned to Britain with this. England had an issue then. Education was expensive and teachers were few. The Madras method was a solution. Schools across England began trying this. Classrooms organized with monitors, children teaching children, a routine inspired by what Bell saw in Madras. The method spread quickly from England to Ireland, from Europe to America. Bharat's village school method had quietly reshaped global education long before Macaulay's Minute, long before English schooling took over Bharat. But wait, while England embraced a teaching style inspired by Bharat, Bharat itself lost faith in its own systems. With policies like Macaulay's Minute of 1835, traditional schools of Bharat were sidelined and dismissed. The very model that England used in their education was erased from its homeland. This forgotten chapter reminds us Bharat did not merely receive education from the West, it also gave education to the West. The Madras system stands as a quiet example to Bharat's genius.
Non-Hindus have been barred from entering Gangotri Dam and Maqbar. Temple Committee enforces restriction. The Sri Gangotri Temple Committee decided to bar the entry of non-Hindus into Gangotri Dam and Maqbar. The decision was taken to protect the religious sanctity and long-held traditions of the shrine.
Uttarakhand is now at the center of a national conversation after decisions and proposals to restrict religious spaces only to Hindus have now made headlines. Temple authorities there in the state have moved to bar non-Hindus from entering major Himalayan shrines. That includes Gangotri Dham, Badrinath, Kedarnath and the winter abode of Ma Ganga at Mukba. Now, citing the reasons to why they made this decision and are hoping for people to agree with it, all stakeholders, is because they believe they want to preserve these long-standing religious places and their traditions and its sanctity as it's sacred. The sacred sites needs to preserve its sanctity. So therefore a decision has been taken. It's yet to be implemented though. The Sri Gangotri Temple Committee has said that the decision was made unanimously during a meeting that was held. The Ganga Sabha, the body that manages the Har Ki Pauri Ghat, and numerous CAs have requested the state government to completely ban the entry of non-Hindus at all the 105 ghats in Haridwar, a town that spreads over 120 square kilometers, and to officially designate Haridwar and Rishikesh as Sanatan Pavitra Sheher, that literally translates to sacred cities of the Hindu religion.
Arjit Singh retires at 38. Heartbroken fans of renowned Indian singer Arijit Singh have been paying tribute to him after he announced he would no longer take on new playback assignments, marking the end of a defining chapter in contemporary Bollywood music. Some described his voice as the sound of our heartbreaks and celebrations, while others called it a presence in every corner of our lives. In Indian cinema, playback singing refers to studio recordings of songs that actors lip-sync on screen, a bedrock of Bollywood storytelling. Singh's voice became inseparable from that tradition, providing vocals for romantic ballads and chart-topping soundtracks in recent years. The 38-year-old, who has collaborated with global pop icons like Ed Sheeran, made his announcement on Instagram. "I am calling it off. It was a wonderful journey," he said.
Like, silver touched rupees 4 lakhs per kilo, and gold neared rupees 2 lakhs per 10 grams, and then fell. Like, pre-budget economic survey painted a rosy picture of our economy. But, then why is rupee falling?
The rupee has cheapened by nearly 5% this year versus the dollar. On Jan 1st, 2025, a dollar could be purchased for 85 rupees 50 paise. Today, it costs around 90 rupees. Indeed, the rupee has fallen by a sharp 1.5 rupees just since November 18th, when news was out that India's October trade deficit had touched an all-time high of $41 billion. This high deficit in 1 month was partly due to the falling exports to the US, thanks to the high tariffs there. India always had a trade deficit, which means imports are more than exports, leading to dollar outflows, but this deficit was getting bridged by dollar inflows from foreign portfolio investors who found Indian shares attractive and India a good growth story. Now, these investment-related flows are called capital account flows. However, since the past 2 years, foreign funds are selling Indian shares and taking back dollars because of slowing Indian corporate earnings and because they prefer buying artificial intelligence stocks, which India doesn't yet have. For the first time in many decades, India is faced with a current account and capital account deficit, hence the fall in the rupee. Sentiment is bad also because the US has not yet signed a trade pact with India, cutting down the tariffs. Also, there is no sign of foreign funds stopping their sale of Indian stocks. There are some IPOs lined up in December in which some foreign investors are expected to sell their stakes and pull out those dollars. So is it all bleak? No. Even as the rupee and Indian stocks get cheaper and Indian corporate earnings pick up thanks to all the tax cuts, foreign flows are sure to return.
The hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax.
Like, Mark Tully, 90, hailed as BBC's voice in India, passed away. Though a BBC reporter, he was a friend of India. Budget 2026 today.
Can you be happy paying tax? Louis XIV's finance minister famously declared in the 17th century that the art of taxation consists in plucking the goose to obtain the largest possible amount of feathers with the smallest amount of hissing. Here, goosey goosey, gotcha! So perhaps we can't be happy paying tax, but there are ways to minimize the pain. More often than not, these methods often consist of hiding it. Voila! Think about it. How many of us actually know how much tax we are paying? We probably have some idea of how much income tax is coming off our paycheck each month. But would any of us know how much we pay annually in VAT? Anybody? Or how much petrol duty or excise duty on alcohol we paid last year, as around half both of these costs is tax. Yet, while me and you are actually filling the public coffers at the same time we're filling up our cars, All this tax still isn't enough to pay for public services in
Lazy B. The 31st of January, 2026.
Part 2 follows.